Welcome to The Orbit. I'm Valtuem, and I talk all things sci-fi and fantasy. Daredevil Born Again brings back Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin of crime, the Big Chungus.
Yeah. Oh yeah!
Does it successfully continue his story, or does it destroy his legacy? Spoiler warning for Daredevil Born Again. Fisk was definitively sent to prison at the end of Season 3. He's been out again since before the blip. But how?
The whole FBI corruption scandal agent Nadeem all that. It's why my husband was acquitted.
I'm sorry? Fisk was convicted for corrupting the FBI, but because the FBI was corrupted, he was acquitted? This is like a logical paradox. This is worse than some lame throwaway excuse. This is literally impossible. This single line probably breaks Born Again worse than anything else.
You blew it!
After getting out of prison, Fisk became a crime lord again. We first see him again in Hawkeye, where he's portrayed as a superhuman. He effortlessly rips a car door off its hinges, tanks getting hit by a car, shakes off a point-blank explosion, and survives getting shot in the face.
'Tis but a scratch.
A scratch? Your arm's off!
No, it isn't.
Born Again brings Fisk back to a more realistic portrayal. Sort of. He does rip a man's face apart with his bare hands. In Echo, Maya Lopez magically cured Fisk's childhood trauma. That's a choice. Sadly, this absurd moment is pretty impactful. His entire arc in Born Again relies on the sudden disappearance of his main motivation, though the show only vaguely alludes to this, probably because of how stupid it sounds. My trauma was cured by the magic of the Native Americans. Fisk runs for mayor. This is impossible. He is a notorious murderer and crime lord. Even if he somehow got out of prison, his reputation is shot.
Makes no sense to me, this mayor thing.
He runs on an anti-vigilante stance. It should be obvious, but there is no way this stance is viable in this universe. It's been 4 years since superheroes saved half of all life, and among these superheroes were the Rogue Avengers, a team of vigilantes, Spider-Man, a vigilante from New York, and numerous other heroes that may or may not have any authority to do what they do. There is no way Fisk's stance would be popular, especially in New York City.
Daredevil, White Tiger, they're the future. We're obsolete.
The series promptly ignores this. Fisk tried something like this in Season 3, but it made much more sense. In a pre-snap world, Fisk specifically called out Daredevil, who he framed as a psycho murderer. It was a much easier narrative to sell. Against all logic, Fisk gets elected. He's strangely incompetent at being mayor. He seems genuinely clueless about how a lot of things work. There's a hole in the ground that can't be filled without permit approval. He says do it anyway. He has this grand plan to overhaul Red Hook Port, but is caught off guard when Sheila says they need to deal with things like land surveys, building permits, and zoning laws.
With all due respect, you can't just decide something and then speak it into existence.
And why is that, Sheila?
This is city government. There are processes.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
How would Fisk not know this? As a crime lord, he was heavily involved with business and real estate. He'd know how all this works, and how to manipulate it to his benefit, more than anyone. He also does things like force Police Commissioner Gallo not to retire, despite the man promising to take him down, promoting the buffoon Daniel to deputy mayor because he managed to do one thing right, and unleashing a bunch of unsupervised crooked cops on the city, somehow not expecting to receive any backlash. Is Fisk stupid? I think Fisk might be stupid. Now it's time to address the elephant in the room. The cuckening.
You understand that, right? How we are locked together. Our experience shared.
When Fisk was off doing his nonsense in Echo, Vanessa cheated on him.
Oh, come on!
Sadly, getting cucked is crucial to Fisk's arc. I'm not joking. Fisk tries to leave behind his crime lord ways, and he mostly does, but for one major exception. He confronts Adam, the cucker, locks him in his basement, and beats his ass every night.
Where do you think you're going, cucker?
But that's only the start. Over the course of the show, we see how Vanessa's betrayal eats away at him.
It was his hands. His hands drew beautiful sketches. I mean, just...
Do not. I can't. I'm sorry. I hear his voice. I see his hands. It's unbearable.
This is coupled with how neutered he's become. His first scene in Born Again sees him going to Vanessa with his tail between his legs, pleading for her to accept him again.
I was broken, shattered. And for months I had to put myself back together. As I did, two things shone bright and clear inside me. The first was my undying love for you.
Despite her betrayal, he's constantly sucking up to her.
I'm not the same woman I was when you left.
You are something even more extraordinary.
I know Fisk's a full-time Vanessa simp, but he also used to have self-respect. When Fisk decided to become mayor, Vanessa took his place as crime lord. We're told over and over that Fisk's become an old has-been that no one respects anymore.
You're out of the game, old man. Stay out of it.
Vanessa's not only taken his place, but she's better than he ever was.
I took over the business. It thrived. It had never been more profitable.
Of course. As people's respect for him wanes, and as he grows more frustrated over being cucked, he becomes more and more like the old Kingpin. His transformation is complete when Vanessa kills Adam. Maya cured Fisk's trauma, turning him into a wimpy pushover. Vanessa immediately took advantage of this, hijacking his hard-earned reputation and cheating on him. First and foremost, Vanessa would never do any of this. Born Again makes it out like she was always more interested in being a crime boss than being with Fisk, which is bullshit. And she was the ultimate ride or die. She'd never cheat on him. Which means the writers deliberately assassinated her character because they so badly wanted to turn Fisk into a joke for some half-assed character arc. They wanted to tell the story about how getting cucked turned Fisk back into a villain. You can't make this shit up. The transition from mayor to Kingpin is simultaneously gradual and sudden. It's gradual in that it takes a while for him to start doing Kingpin things again. But it's sudden in that he seizes complete tyrannical control of the city overnight. We're meant to believe he's got the cops on his side. Somehow, Fisk's small task force of crooked cops balloons into the entire force. For some reason, they're fiercely loyal to him.
Half the cops hate Fisk's guts, the other half dive off the Chrysler building for him.
If there's one major thing established about the crooked cops, it's that they hate cop killers. Fisk is a notorious cop killer.
But I'm not here to talk only about Wilson Fisk. He's getting far more publicity than any cop killer deserves.
I didn't kill Officer Shanahan.
Maybe not him, but plenty of others.
What's more baffling is how he treats the cops in Born Again. He denies them pay raises and new hires. He then murders Police Commissioner Gallo right in front of them. Not only was Gallo well liked,
Gallo was a celebrated police commissioner, maybe the most beloved the city has ever seen.
But he was technically a cop. Fisk just brutally killed a cop in front of the guys who hate cop killers more than anything.
Who killed Gallo?
Nothing about this dynamic works, and it's kind of crucial to how Fisk sees his power. We're also shown that there are significant obstacles for him to do what he wants. There are the laws a mayor's constricted by, the red tape that prevents him from doing anything drastic, and the elite keeping him in check.
Underestimate the people in this room at your own peril. One phone call to the right person and, well, bye-bye Gracie Mansion.
That's a threat.
It's a warning.
The show tries to hand-wave away the latter with the implication that he's threatening them all. But for this to work, he needs significant leverage over every single person in the political system. If even one of them brings this situation to the attention of the federal government, Fisk is fucked. Any perceived misuse of power will be highlighted by the media and pursued by the law. The show even stresses that Fisk can't be seen abusing power.
I have more resources, institutional resources, law enforcement resources.
Using those to settle old scores could be seen as an abuse of power.
Yet this is forgotten in the last episode, where he takes over the city with almost no resistance. In the span of a day, he cuts all power to the city, unleashes crooked cops on the public, rescinds the need for warrants and due process, encourages lethal force on anyone for any reason, shuts down all bridges and tunnels, kills Gallo, establishes an 8 p.m. curfew in New York, and declares martial law. So, yeah. He's speedrunning becoming the least popular mayor in history. Cool. Also, I'm pretty sure a mayor doesn't have the authority to do any of that. What happens when the federal government gets a wind of this? Does Fisk expect them to just let it happen? Realistically, Season 2 should start with Fisk getting thrown back in prison. Problem solved. The entirety of Season 3 explained how Fisk got out of prison and took over the FBI. Born Again has all this happen in a day, and dares you to question how. Ultimately, Fisk's big scheme revolves around Red Hook Port. It's technically not a part of the US, so he plans to turn it into his own city-state, where he can get away with being a crime lord legally. Fisk's master plan is to establish Caucasia.
For we have given birth to the greatest nation ever known! We have given birth to Caucasia!
First of all, Vanessa had Foggy killed because he stumbled onto the truth of Red Hook. Somehow, this info is both public, in that anyone can find out if they look into it, and completely hidden, in that Foggy was the only one who did. Vanessa and Fisk's big plan relies on no one looking up this easily accessible info. Second of all, does Fisk really think the US government's just gonna let this happen? Does he really think the US is going to respect the autonomy of this port attached to New York City? The port that only contains US citizens. They're meant to genuinely treat this like an independent nation. They'd either laugh in Fisk's face as they dragged him to prison, or send in the might of the US military to conquer this foreign land.
I noticed that you have your own nation here. You must be very proud. But to be fair, it is not very big, and you're not very big. So, let's just cut to the chase here. I am going to invade you.
Bing bang boom, Fisk's master plan collapses. Daredevil Born Again destroyed Wilson Fisk. He got character assassinated even worse than Matt. He's become a pathetic, incompetent joke of his former self. All the hard work of the Netflix series to build him up as a complex and intimidating villain has been swiftly undone, leaving us with this.
Beautiful sketches, I mean, just...
Can we not? I hear his voice. I see his hands. It's unbearable. Shut up!
Thanks for watching. What do you think of Wilson Fisk in Daredevil Born Again? Please subscribe for more videos in the same vein. If you're interested, I've got more videos on Daredevil and the MCU. I'll see you on the orbit.